So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Good day. So good morning, wherever you're joining us from. And good evening, if this evening, good afternoon, if this afternoon. It's my honor and pleasure to have you join us today for the 7th edition of Renew Education. My name is Ivo Shalom Shilaro. I'm the founder of Renew Arts Technologies, and I'm delighted to have people, including like young people, but in the negotiations, that is people coming from the government, the civil society, and different NGOs with us today. And we'll be discussing more on the UNFCCC COP events, and would later on hear from young people and the NGOs that have been represented at COP on how youth can better engage at COP. So it's my pleasure to have everyone, and especially to have the Deputy COP28 UAE negotiator, chief negotiator with us today, and the person of Imana Study. She's going to be our first speaker, and permits me to do a little introduction about her, and she's going to take on, and we'll be having sort of a discussion this morning. So feel free to drop in your questions if you have any in the chat box, and she will go ahead to, to address them. So just a little bit about Imana Study, and she's going to take the floor and introduce herself further. It's my honor and pleasure to introduce Iman. Iman holds a Master's of Engineering Systems and Management degree from the prestigious Master Institute of Science and Technology, and a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering from the American University of Sharjah. She, as the Deputy Chief Negotiator at COP28 UAE, she successfully negotiated and implemented complex agreements, demonstrating exceptional negotiation skills and strategic thinking. Her experience as a volunteer at the Emirates Foundation for Youth Development has also enabled her to contribute to the development and empowerment of young people in the UAE through mentorship, workshops, and community outreach programs. Throughout her career, she has achieved numerous notable accomplishments. She was recognized as a distinguished graduate for the Young Economists Program. She was awarded the Best Project Award for an outstanding and significant project. She also received recognition by the President of the UAE for her youth achievement in sustainability. Additionally, she was acknowledged as the ADNOC High Flyer Employee. I was a finalist in the prestigious Alberta Energy Challenge competition, demonstrating her expertise in energy-related fields. It's my honor and pleasure. I was privileged to meet Iman as a WISER pioneer, WISER, which is the Women in Sustainability and Renewable Energy. And also, we forgot to mention, she is also a Yale Climate Emerging Leader. She is full, she is full of great experiences, and it's such a pleasure that she got to join us today. Please, you can feel free to introduce yourself further if you have more things to share with us. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much, Shalom. Good afternoon, good morning to everyone. I know that people are joining us from different regions, so greetings from the UAE and from Abu Dhabi, the capital of the United Arab Emirates. Thank you very much, Shalom, for the introduction. I really appreciate it, and it's my pleasure to join you here today to shed some light on my experience at COP28, and also to give you some insights about COP28 outcomes, how we supported the youth empowerment during COP, how the COP28 resulted in building bridges between the global south and the global north. So I'm happy to share my experience from that aspect. In terms of my bio, I believe you covered most of it, but I currently work as a deputy chief negotiator for the Office of the UAE as a Special Envoy, and I have been working on the COP28 file for almost 2 years and a half. As you guys know, we have been preparing for hosting COP28 since the bidding phase. And in my experience, or in my responsibility as a deputy chief negotiator, I was responsible to develop the political engagement plan for the COP president. And I was also responsible to map the positions of the different countries and how to bridge between the global south and the global north to achieve the COP28 strategy that we have been developing since the beginning of the year. So working on achieving this strategy, working on empowering my team, I had a team of around 35 young UAE negotiators in COP28. We were able to come up with the strategy, we were able to come up with an engagement plan, we were able to come up with the roadmap to achieve the COP28 strategy and to result in the UAE consensus, which is one of the biggest outcomes of COP28. And of course, we had different teams working from a negotiation perspective and from the action agenda perspective. And my responsibility was within the negotiation domain, which is basically within the climate policy domain in this multilateral process. Prior to joining COP28, I worked in the energy sector, and particularly I worked on projects related to carbon capture and hydrogen, and I was responsible also to develop, to participate in developing the sustainability strategy for Abu Dhabi National Oil Gas Company, and also to be responsible as a project manager, managing different projects within the sustainability domain. As I mentioned, one was hydrogen and the other was the carbon capture. So this is mainly about my experience and what I have been doing. And from the educational perspective, of course, you have covered it, Shannon. Thank you very much. And I will be more than happy to address any question during my slot. And if you guys have anything, you feel free to communicate with me. Shannon has my email, has my WhatsApp number, so please share it with the team in case they have any questions to me.
Thank you so much. So today we are going to be having more like a panel discussion. Oh, Iman, do you want to share your screen right now, and then we can have a little discussion afterwards? Okay. All right, let me go ahead to share this from here. So the first question is, while the slide is coming up, the first question would just be, what really happens at COP? What really happens? I know some of us have been privileged to be there, while a lot of us, including myself, haven't been privileged to be at COP. So what really happens? What happens at the blue zone? What happens at the green zone? That's the first question that I would love you to address. Thank you so much.
Okay, so in general, the COP28, similar to all previous COPs, we follow the UNFCCC mapping of the COP in terms of I would say, the logistical issues within the COP. It goes that we have two zones, the blue zone and the green zone. The blue zone is mainly the zone where the negotiations team meet. The negotiations rooms are allocated with respect to the different thematics. We have different thematics within the UNFCCC space, whether it is mitigation, adaptation, climate finance, technology, youth, gender, and some others. So here, where at the blue zone, the team or the parties, they get divided into different negotiations rooms to discuss their mandated agenda for the COP. At every COP, we have a number of mandated agenda, and we have a number of, I would say, strategic thematics that are the focus of the COP. In our COP, the focus was on the mandate of mitigation. The focus was on the mandate of adaptation. This COP, at COP29, there is a mandate on the finance to meet the new quantified goal. So this is basically what happens in the blue zone. In the green zone, it is more of an open area where where stakeholders, companies, organizations, as well as philanthropies and many other entities, they come in and they showcase what are the initiatives that they have in the era of climate and sustainability. And it's an area to network, it's an area to build partnerships, it's an area to build a bilateral agreements with different entities, with different countries. So it's more of an open space where people, they showcase the initiatives and they showcase they demonstrate how they are committed to sustainability within their organization or within their entity.
Well, that's broad. I am completely overwhelmed with how companies get to showcase what they have done. I also just want to follow up. Are there like technological technologies or innovations that are also demonstrated in the green zone, or is it just companies come and say what they have and talk about like their commitments to sustainability?
No, of course, technology is a very important aspect, and of course it is also demonstrated within the green zone, whether it would be within an entity, whether it would be within like a pavilion. But the technology is an aspect that which is one of the enabling conditions to drive further ambition within the climate agenda. So technology has a big share within where it is hugely demonstrated and showcased at the green zone.
Thank you so much. So I'll go to the next question. As we all know, the UAE consensus, that's the last COP, sent a message of hope and unity despite a challenging geopolitical landscape. So can you tell us a bit, how did you achieve this?
Okay, we achieved it with a lot of stress and tension and sleepless nights. This is a very brief and not diplomatic answer of how this was achieved. But of course, the UAE consensus, as you clearly mentioned, it is one of the main outcomes of COP28. And at COP28, we delivered a breakthrough progress across the entire climate agenda. It's the success of COP28 proved that multilateralism can still work even at a time of great geopolitical tension. And as you are aware, last year there was a lot of big geopolitical tension that took place, and many doubted that COP28 can deliver strong outcomes because of such tension. However, the UAE consensus succeeded against the odds, and we moved the world beyond self-interest for the common interest. And the UAE consensus focused on going beyond the geopolitics to make progress for the planet and to make progress for all people. And this was delivered through a proper political engagement plan. And as I mentioned, we worked on an end game strategy that we have been working on through the year and the previous year as well. So it was a total of 2 to 3 years where we have been developing this end game strategy. The main idea that we took a lot of time working on this end game strategy because we wanted to ensure that we come up with a balanced outcome. And this could be easily said a balanced outcome, but it is not easy to be executed or to be implemented. And we wanted to address the expectations and the priorities of both the global south and the global north. And as I mentioned, we wanted to create that bridge between the global south and the global north. So going to the UAE consensus, we laid out a clear roadmap for keeping 1.5 within reach. We succeeded in delivering a set of world firsts across the climate agenda. It was the first COP to include text on transitioning away from fossil fuel. It was the first COP to include fixed targets for renewable energy and a tripling capacity by 2030. It was the first COP to address loss and damage and to start to fill the fund from day one, where the agenda was adopted. It was the first COP for nature with the goal to end deforestation by 2030. And of course, one of the most important things, it was the first for inclusivity and the first COP where a youth climate champion was established for COP28 and for all future COPs. So as you said, how was this achieved? This is a very great question. And if I could summarize it in one word, I would say it was achieved by and through inclusivity. Inclusivity was the guiding principle that made COP28 a success. We literally leveraged our relationships with all the key players. We ensured every voice counted and every voice was heard. And this is how we ensured that everybody, and we trusted that everybody could make a valid contribution. And just giving you very, very brief examples, one of the things to ensure inclusivity, we brought the spirit of the Majlis to the COP, where everyone sharing on equal terms. And if people and the meeting today, they don't know what is a Majlis, it is like a form of a traditional setup that we have, where families, they get together. So we wanted to do it in a way that we make everyone feel they are welcomed, and everyone feel we trust and we want to hear from them. We leveraged our relationships with all the key players, whether it is countries like US, China, India, and even OPEC+. And inclusivity, of course, at COP28 meant engaging the private sector like never before. And one of the things that it was new to the history of COP, that we brought the biggest energy consumers and the producers around decarbonization, and we made them meet and push the oil and gas industry to set up with 40% of global oil production, committing to zero methane emission by 2030 and net zero by 2015. In addition to, of course, the commitment that we made from a financial perspective. So this is what was the COP28 about, and how did we achieve it? And the most important thing is now, yes, we succeeded in achieving that agreement, but now is where the serious talk starts, that we need serious action. And now where the hard work begins, and this is what we were trying to do this year. So we need to show that unprecedented agreement can be turned into unprecedented action. And we are what we do, but not what we say. So all parties signed the UAE consensus, and they must also meet their commitment and honor their obligations. So this is about the UAE consensus. How did we achieve it, and what do we need to do to further build on the UAE consensus and further leverage on its legacy?
That's pretty amazing. And especially phasing away from fossil fuels, because that's the next question. I really applaud the UAE for demonstrating great leadership in that regard and setting up that space for global energy transition. So the next question is, yes, like you rightfully mentioned, it was the first time, and it was a great one from the UAE. There was the decision to transition away from fossil fuels, as well as included targets on tripling renewables and doubling energy efficiency. So right now, the question is, how do the COP28 outcomes influence the global strategies to phase out coal and other fossil fuels? And how can policymakers ensure that the energy transition is just and equitable?
Thank you very much. That's really a great question. As you clearly mentioned, one of the key components of the UAE consensus was the decision on the global stocktake to assess the progress since the Paris, and to put forward a plan to close implementation gaps by 2030. And in a landmark agreement to bring sectoral approach to the COP process, the UAE consensus resulted in including a reference to transitioning away from all fossil fuels and energy system in a just, orderly, and equitable manner in this critical decade, to enable the world to reach net zero emissions by 2050 in keeping up with the science. And when we say putting justice at this language, or at the heart of the energy transition, it means putting people at the heart of sustainable development. It means leaving no one behind as we transition to a low carbon economy. And of course, it means preserving the development space for countries in the global south. It also means for policymakers that we must catalyze an inclusive and a pragmatic and a well-managed global energy transition where socio-economic aspects and considerations must be factored in to unlock opportunities. And with that, justice, of course, means that no one size fits all, and that you must step up support and solidarity for developing countries and to minimize the risk of such a transitioning, and to offer scaling, affordable finance and investments, as well as technology development and the transfer, and of course capacity building for all countries that are in need for. And in addition to the fossil fuel to complement it, the decision also includes calls for tripling the renewable energy, for halting deforestation and doubling energy efficiency by 2030. So this is how the completion of the first GST, or the global stocktake, marked, I would say, an important milestone in the implementation of the Paris Agreement. Now, if we take a step back and we go to the agreed fossil fuel language at COP28 and to assess it from the perspective of policy and implementation. In addition to this was the first time that there was a recognition of the need to transition away from fossil fuels after many years in which the discussion of this issue was blocked. And this decision came at the right time, where today we stand at a pivotal juncture in the timeline of our planet. This is not just another decade, but a critical period for decisive climate action. And saying that it is a decisive, critical period, if we go back to the IPCC report, it was made crystal clear that we are way off track. And it laid out a stark reality where global temperature have already risen by 1.1 degrees C, and each additional increment of warning will only intensify the negative impact and related losses and damages. So at COP28, yes, we celebrated the success of this outcome as it puts us one significant step closer. We also acknowledge that we also must acknowledge that there is still substantial work ahead of us to keep 1.5 degree goal within reach. And although we came up with this breakthrough outcome of the fossil fuel, it's now a question that how to achieve this transitioning in a just and equitable manner, how every nation should look at their sustainable development, at their socio-economic aspects. At the end, we don't want to achieve this transitioning and hinder our sustainable development, hinder or impact our national priorities or impact our business. So this is a decision that was made, but this is a decision that requires a follow-up by every party who signed to the UAE consensus, especially when it comes to the energy transition outcomes.
That was quite comprehensive, and I love the UAE's approach to both decarbonization, phasing out fossil fuels, and the most important thing, inclusivity and being able to achieve a just and equitable transition. And really, that leads to the third question, because with all of this, we need to think about implementation, right? We have to think about the strategy to make these things work. So it's not just about the talk, it's about doing it. So the third question is saying, so implementation, we all know, is a key driver to achieving these ambitious goals and transitioning. And with implementation comes the concern of climate finance. So what does innovating financial systems for climate action mean? And what innovative financial tools emerged from COP28 that could accelerate green transitions?
So as you clearly mentioned, implementation is a tool to increase ambition within the climate agenda, and it is a tool to implement all the actions and the outcomes of COP28 and all previous COPs. And this is a point of debate between the global north and the global south, where the global north asks for more ambition to meet the 1.5. And the global south requests for means of implementation, whether it is finance, whether it is technology, whether it is capacity building. And lately, in COP28 and the upcoming COPs as well, the idea of innovating financial system has been it's been a point of, I would say, of attention, and many parties have started discussing this. And if we speak about innovating a financial system, this is not like a strategy of 1, 2, 3 actions that could be implemented so we could say our financial system is innovative. In fact, it entails a widespread effort across the global financial landscape to develop, to strengthen, to enhance policies, to enhance financial structures, frameworks, instruments, partnerships, as well as platforms to make finance available at a scale, and most importantly, accessible and affordable. And this includes a concrete action by a wide range of actors, such as the national governments, the international financial organizations, the private sector financial institutions, the regulatory bodies, the philanthropies, and the non-governmental organizations. They all must come and work together to scale up the provision and the mobilization of the trillions needed in developing countries to achieve the goals of the Paris Agreement, and also to simplify and facilitate access, especially by the climate funds, and help address the fiscal limitations and the debt in developing countries. So rapid progress on the reform of the international financial architecture in the context of sustainable development, of course, and poverty eradication is urgently needed to address the climate shocks and to address the debt levels and the high cost of capital and perceived risk. At COP28, we gave a focus on that, and we looked at that. And we built honestly on a previous efforts. So one of the things that we came up with is we launched the Global Climate Finance Frameworks with 10 principles, which together support a common vision aiming at shifting the narrative of climate finance from a burden to an opportunity, from an economic growth and shared prosperity. Also, the UAE made several voluntary contributions at COP28 towards the implementation of this framework, including, if I could recall, the launch of the 30 billion Altera Fund, which is the world's largest private investment fund for climate change, aiming to mobilize investments in climate, particularly in developing countries. Also, the UAE allocated, from a voluntary perspective, 200 million for the RST, launched 4.5 billion and for Africa green investment initiatives. We pledged 100 million to the World Bank Trust Fund to finance methane abatement. We also pledged 100 million in nature finance, 100 million towards solutions to address water issues, and 100 million to the loss and damage fund. So this is mainly was our contribution at COP28 to the international climate finance era or architecture.
Wow, that's really impressive. And I think everyone is thinking the same. And if you have further questions for Iman, please share with us in the chat box. And this is the final question, and this also reflects how you as a climate negotiator is driving these actions further. So the last question is, as a negotiator shaping climate policies, what are the critical elements that needs to be addressed in international agreements to catalyze financial flows towards urgent climate action?
Okay, thank you very much, Shalom. The first thing that comes to my mind as a general approach, and I mentioned it in the beginning, it is critical to strike the right balance and the agreements or decisions between the level of ambition and the level of detail and pragmatism. We are seeking for ambitions to reach the 1.5, but also we need to acknowledge that there is a huge gap in the means of implementation. So besides creating commitments for specific actors, whether it's parties in the case of the UNFCCC process, agreements and decisions have been sending signals to different non-state actors. And for example, at COP28, parties called on the World Bank and the MDB shareholders to implement the updated vision statement of the World Bank and to emphasize on the role of financial sector actors, whether it's the central banks, commercial banks, and other investors, in a way to improve the assessment and the management, of course, of the climate-related financial risk. So even though these signals are highly significant, they are not enough, and they were never enough at COP28. Because the real transformation is deeply linked to the implementation of these signals, including the introduction of appropriate financial and regulatory frameworks that can push and enable market changes at international, at regional, and at national levels. And the delivery of past promises under the UNFCCC is of a crucial importance to create and enhance, of course, the political atmosphere of trust. And beside building trust in the process between and amongst parties, the delivery of past promises also helps in building confidence among developing countries that will, of course, support the implementation of the climate action. And this is what we aim to really focus at COP28. How can we build the trust that can help to raise ambition, the trust that can help in maintaining the momentum? So trust is the main issue when it comes to the climate finance discussions. And in addition to that, many elements could be addressed in international agreements to catalyze financial flows towards climate action, whether it is emphasizing the role of multilateral climate funds, GCF, GEF, and providing the necessary support for effective and equitable climate action, particularly for developing countries, and to increase the new and additional funding to these funds to enhance their capacity. Also, to develop a better understanding on the sources of finance, including how to better use public climate finance strategically in the context of sustainable development. And of course, we need to continue to explore innovative sources and approaches of finance to implement public financing, while also ensuring that they contribute to the predictability and sustainability of investments. Parties need to make progress in common definition of a climate finance under the UNFCCC to better appraise and track climate finance and avoid greenwashing. And this year at COP29, we have a big agenda of the new quantified goal of finance, the NCQG, where the discussion is still ongoing with the debate on the quantum, on who needs to pay, on the instrument, and on the framework of this goal. So we need also to focus on that, and we need to stress on the importance of creating robust mechanisms to enhance transparency and to enhance accountability for climate finance, because transparency and accountability, they are very much linked to building trust within this process. So I hope with that I answered the question in a comprehensive way, but always the discussion of climate finance is very dense, and there is a lot to add to that.
Yeah, that's really true. And talking about greenwashing, that is also something that is of concern to a lot of advocates out there, because companies, we hear the commitments, but really, I'm very impressed by the way COP28 UAE, they are addressing this by providing much more transparent and innovative tools on making this climate commitments very much transparent to everyone. So that's quite impressive. And this is just a question that popped up in the chat box. And I think with this, we can round up this first speaking section. So the question is, how do one assess this climate finance? This is from Victory. She said, especially the Africa Green Investment Initiative that aims to unlock Africa's clean energy potential, launched at the Africa Climate Summit, that this transformative partnership brought together $4.5 billion of private, public, and development capital from the UAE. So the question is, how do we assess this climate finance? What way do we assess that?
The way the principles of the assessment that we looked at COP28 and which we addressed based on the feedback that we received from parties is within three aspects: the scale, the affordability, and the accessibility. The scale is in terms of the quantum, how much do we need to provide and to which area it could support. Accessibility and affordability, this is a main debate that we have been hearing from developing countries, that even if those financial organizations like GEF and GC, if they provide the amount, there is always a big issue on how to access this fund to be allocated for certain projects. In fact, I was really having a very, very detailed discussion through different workshops about this issue, where parties were complaining about the process of submitting to get that fund. The process of submission is a very long process, is a very complicated process. A lot of developing countries, they require capacity building to be able to achieve the prerequisites and the requirements to apply for that form or to apply for that process of requesting for the fund. So these are the main three issues that we are looking for assessment: affordability, accessibility, and of course the scale of the finance. And this is whether it comes in the form of the Africa Initiative or the other commitments that they have made at COP28.
Okay, that is quite comprehensive, and thank you so much for that response. I believe that a lot of we have good representation of Africa and other developing countries, especially at COP, and we are looking forward to COP29 to bring us further hope and unity. And just the last what message should we look up to for COP29? What do we look up to? Because I believe it's quite close and everyone is very excited to see what will happen at COP29, given the progress with COP28.
Yeah, sure. So we have been working very close with the COP29 presidency team. The COP29 focus will be on certain, as I mentioned, agenda items with the UNFCCC. One will be the focus on the new quantified goal, this is the biggest outcome or the biggest portion of the COP29 strategy. Another one will be the focus on carbon markets, or Article 6, which we made progress at COP28, and we hope that it will be closed by COP29. Also, at COP29, there will be a huge emphasis on the submission of biennial transparency reports and the NDC, which are aligned with 1.5. And this is what we are working currently on the UAE, to announce our submission of the BTR and the NDC reports by COP29. Also, the COP29, they have allocated, or they have already announced their youth climate champion. And I have been looking very closely at the initiative of the youth climate champion of COP29, and she's doing really, really great job. And I would encourage all the youth here to be part of the initiatives of the youth for COP29, because it's really impressive. And one general advice that I would give to everyone here, be prepared before you go to COP29. COP29, they will be sharing their agenda very soon. And they have been already announcing on what are the areas of focus, and take this opportunity, especially for the Green Zone, to go and visit the different initiatives, to get to know the different technologies, to get to know what people they do, what parties they do, what are the net zero strategies across the different companies, because I believe that every one of you today is a key player in their organization and their overall nation and country, of course. So of course you want to leverage on your experience, and you want to leverage on what you will see at COP29 to reflect on that and bring it back to your nation, bring it back to your entity, and bring it back to your company. At COP29, at 28, we heard from different people that they were able to sign agreements. They were able to make connections. Please focus on making connections at COP29. This is really the right platform to do so. And in our in our work and in our career, we really need to leverage on our networking. This is a key driver for our success and to build on our ambition. And COP29, I'm sure, in addition to all upcoming COPs, is the right platform to do so.
That's truly a message to young people, and I believe that a lot of us have been engaging, and think much more people would engage this time around. Myself in particular is looking up to visit COP, to be at COP29, the first COP for myself. And with this, we're rounding up the first section. Thank you so much, Iman. And I know that you might be leaving us soon, so I would just want everyone to turn on their camera for a bit to take a picture with Iman. I don't want to miss this opportunity. Please, if you are in a comfortable place, turn on your camera to have a picture. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I'm going to take the picture in 2 minutes. I see a lot more people are turning on their cameras, so thank you so much. And I'm going to take the picture on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I know we've already gone past the time. It seems, Augustine, is that a question or just?
Yeah, I just wanna, before Iman leaves the session, thank you for what you just shared. I'm the chairperson of the Global Youth Coalition, and it's really inspiring to hear decision takers explaining things in such a way that the youngsters can understand, and we know what we can do, but also we understand that what we are doing has a purpose, because there's people like you, Iman, and I believe from all of the youngsters that are here, is always refreshing to know that there's global leaders really pushing the agenda. And congratulations. I'm really happy to have the chance to join this panel with you today.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Augustine. And Iman, any last words for us before you leave?
No, thank you very much. I'm looking forward for the rest of this session. Yes, I have another meeting in 45 minutes, but meanwhile, I will enjoy the rest of this session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's such a pleasure. That's such an honor. Thank you so much. And we'll go ahead to introduce our second speaker. Augustine happens to be our second presenter for today. And I will just tell you a little bit about himself, which he is also doing incredible work. And then he's going to take the floor to tell us more about what he has done and give us more insights to youth and youth participation and indigenous communities. So it's my honor to welcome Augustine Ocana Escobar. I really hope I got it right. He is a visionary leader and change maker committed to driving global youth empowerment and climate action. As the founder and chairperson of the Global Youth Coalition, Augustine has been at the forefront of integrating innovative technology with environmental advocacy, fostering a global network of young leaders dedicated to sustainable development. His leadership has been instrumental in the creation of impactful initiatives like Reforesting for Peace and the Global Youth Climate Training Program, which is currently the decisions has been made already. So if you apply to that, that's going to be such a great pleasure to be a part of that program. And in his role as the global head of advocacy for Young Think Green, Augustine works tirelessly to bridge the gap between grassroots movements and high-level policymaking, ensuring that youth voices are heard in critical discussions on climate change. His efforts have led to collaborations with esteemed institutions such as Oxford University, BBC Earth, and NAGIO, as well as influential figures in the climate space. Augustine's work is driven by a deep commitment to building a sustainable and just future. He is passionate about leveraging AI, immersive reality, and gamification to create educational tools that empower individuals and communities to take meaningful climate action. It's my pleasure to welcome Augustine. I could go on and on to tell you more about him, but I will give him the floor to share with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you, Shalom, for inviting me. And as I shared before, it's such a pleasure to hear global leaders share the agenda that we are all pushing. But also is always important to presence and testify. There's so many youngsters interested on these topics. So I'm here for you guys. If you have any questions, I have myself chance to be in 2 COPs so far. Looking forward to attend the COP in Baku, Azerbaijan, to push the NCQG as was shared earlier before. And yeah, please, I'm here for you, and I will be happy, and hopefully I will fulfill the expectations, because the last speaker was amazing. So now I'm like, oh no, it's gonna be a bit hard. So take it easy with me.
You can go ahead to share the screen.
Oh yeah, I was not sure if you were about to make some questions, but I can share. Sure. So I'm gonna use this document. We have some documents around, but I decided that today this will be the one. This is the report of the GYC actions of last year, including our presence. This is the very first moment when the Global Youth Coalition began. On this opportunity, we at COP27, we had the privilege to be one of the group of youth leaders of the planet to have this meeting with His Excellency Antonio Gutierrez. And we were hearing here something really important, that the 2% of the population of the planet that has the higher capacity of money capacity is not really interested of what's going on with climate change and in general environment and our Mother Earth. So at this moment, I felt together with Lujane Ramosi, who is the girl next to me, we felt that we need to push forward and we need to take proper and conscious actions towards making our planet a better place, not just in the future, but also in the present, because we have been told so many years that we, the youngsters, we are the future of the planet. And I hear this since I'm 4 years old. So I was thinking, okay, this means that now is the time for us to take action and to start making things possible, right? And that's why we started with the Global Youth Coalition in 1 year and a half, almost 2 years now. We have the chance and the opportunity to deliver this training together with the University of Oxford. After, of course, a long journey, I have been personally advocating during more than 10 years already around nature and climate change, until we reach the global high decision meetings at COP27, starting in this important moment, COI 17. That's why if you guys have the opportunity to involve yourselves in the LCOIs, is really a great way to start understanding the UNFCCC processes, because on how do we came later on with the Global Youth Climate Training Program together with Oxford Net Zero and the Smith School of Enterprise and the Environment. We understood that even though that we have right now the privilege to attend these high-level discussions, most of the time we go there and we are not really aware of what's going on. We need to prepare ourselves more, so the investment of energy, money, and time that we do, plus the carbon footprint that we create while traveling to COPs, means something. Sometimes it's something sad that there's a lot of people that we call this the climate tourism. There's a lot of people that goes to COP just to check out what's going on. And it's also okay to start understanding, but what if you are gonna if we prepare ourselves a bit earlier, so our travel or energy is invested in the most sustainable way possible. If you don't know how to do this, I invite you to check the globalyouth.co or website, where you can find the last program that we delivered together with the University of Oxford totally for free. And if you want and you know someone that is not speaking English, don't worry, we cover you. You have access to the program in French, in Spanish, in Portuguese, and in English. And this year, we managed to include Mandarin and Arabic, because we believe that it's important that all the youngsters have the tools and the capacities to make an impact in all of the levels together. What about Urdu? How do we attempt COP as a team for renewable technologies? I believe that's a question for Shalom. So during our program, we focus on three topics. We want to build the capacities for around the UNFCCC topics by empowering a diverse youth of these selected groups, so they understand how to talk and how to impact the climate experts and the decision takers. Then building common positions. Sometimes we have so many beliefs around what do we think, what's climate change, what needs to be done. And during these discussions, what we understood that is a problem is that we focus a lot in what we are not agreeing. And this creates a sense of, I wouldn't say competition, but it creates some conflicts between youngsters, and also conflicts between nations as you go there and you presence what's going on at COP. So our approach on this is, what if we start talking on what we all agree? And we all agree that something needs to be done, right? That's why we are here. That's why we feel this sense of urgency that something is happening in our planet due to all the all the human activities that we are doing. And finally, we are promoting open source youth-led climate action programs. As I said, you can go to our YouTube, you can access to policy-making programs. But if you want and you are not totally sure that you want to do policymaking, I also invite you to check the last program that we have together with different filmmakers and social media influencers on how do we deliver this message in massively using the tools that we have. Most of us have access to internet these days. Most of us have access to a phone with a camera. So it's important that we use these tools properly. And that's why we created the Reforesting for Peace program, where we train 1,000 youngsters from 100 countries on how we can showcase the ongoing nature-based solutions by also creating compelling, positive content. Sometimes we need to protect our mental health because there's so much content and we believe everything is going wrong, everything is going down. But then we hear that such leaders like Iman, and we have this sense of people is doing stuff, right? How do I join this? How do I make my impact? So it's important that we have access to education, and all these programs are for free. Here you can see the distribution of last year program applicant. There's 10,000 people distributed all over the planet. This year, we received 10,086 applications again, and we are about to generate this map. But why I'm showing this, because sometimes, at least it happens to me before, I felt that I am alone on this journey. It's just myself in my neighborhood who is worried about the plastic bottles, who is worried about people cutting trees, or who is worried about the pesticides that we are using at home. So trust me, there's hundreds and thousands and millions of people out there working already to make an impact, to make something happen. And this is just a small showcase of that. Then, as I shared before, we have the opportunity to go to COP29, 28 in Dubai, and congratulations again for the team, Iman, and the COP28 team. It was a really impressive COP. We got the chance to, again, speak with different youth leaders and global leaders, and that's the question that we are trying to answer in this new program with Oxford. How do we deliver our questions to the non-state actors? And this is something important that I would like to share this time, because this next COP that is about to happen in Azerbaijan will be focused on the NCQG, that is basically how the money will be distributed, right? So something that I have been learning with the University of Oxford, our partners, and specifically Alexis McGeever, is the ambitious loop. And Iman was also sharing about the ambition. And we need to understand that the higher the ambitious the non-state actors are, the higher the ambitious that the policymakers will deliver. And this is a loop. And where do we match on this puzzle? Either you can talk with policymaker leaders such as Iman, Antonio Guterres, or the Ministry of Environment of Chile or your country, but you can also should be talking with the stakeholders, the people that is around corps, even the, let's say, the small market that is next to your door. If they are producing tons of plastics and you are just watching and then posting on Instagram how bad this is, but you are not approaching them and offering a solution, how do we expect this to change? It's going to be hard, right? That's why we need to involve ourselves in every level, from local to global. And actually, I would like to point this out. There's a lot of interest of attending COP, as I was reading here before in the chat. But sometimes because of these moments that we want to attend to COP and these spaces, we're forgetting about our local scenario. And it's always think global, act local. You need to involve yourself with your community. That's the most important way to be sustainable, because if you just want to jump into the global discussions without understanding what's going on in your neighborhood, what is the message that you're going to deliver? You will be just reading some books and you will be repeating what people is saying already, but does that really make an impact? If you have the privilege to go to these spaces, it's really important that you deliver those messages that are being shared by your community, by your family, by the people that is next to you. So when you succeed on going to these spaces, here we have, for example, some meetings that we had during COP28. We were trying and we are pushing something that is called the Plan Avocado or Plan Aguacate. And this is basically a living document that we were having during COP, where we were discussing 3 points that we are trying to deliver to one of the G7 member, pushing the already ongoing agenda. And on this time was the operationalization of the Loss and Damage Fund, something that was delivered by the amazing job of the COP28 UAE team. But then we are also focusing on ensuring nature-based solutions aligned with the UNEA resolution, and something that it came actually from the African youngsters was the operationalization of the clean energy transition. We cannot solve a problem by creating another one, right? It makes no sense that because we want to go out of fossil fuels, we start creating a new problem in the mining sectors because of all the weird minerals that are all out there, right? So for making all this happen, we need to understand how to deliver these messages. And this strategy that you are just visualizing right now is how, and we as GYC are doing this strategy right now. We are focusing in these 3 points. So whatsoever we deliver at COP28, we go with a plan. Sometimes, okay, what do we want? Climate justice. Great. It's great that we know that, but how is this going to be delivered into the policy making, into the policy discussions? You need to understand that Article 6 is important, but why? If you don't understand that now, it's something that you can Google right now, like how Article 6 is connected with the rest of the UNEA resolutions and so on. So it's important that we start delving a bit deeper into the policy discussions so we understand and the impact that we create is even more effective than just going there and do some activism or creating an impact by sharing awareness. What is okay is great, but I don't know if you guys, but I feel the urgency that we need to support the policymakers. We need to support the non-state actors, and we need to support them from a conscious, respectfully way. We need to know what is doable, what is effective, what we can achieve at one COP, what we can achieve thinking into COP30 that will be in Brazil. So for that also, later on, if you want, I will share with Shalom some links if you guys are interested. But after the training we did with Oxford, the first training, we put together this amazing book that is the Climate Guidebook. And this showcase what the global community can do when we align with a clear objective. I think it's clickable. Oh, I love this document. So here we will visualize what the Climate Guidebook is. Actually, I'm gonna copy this and share here already. Here you can find the different topics around how we did here, loss and damage, adaptation, mitigation, climate finance, non-state actors, climate policy, indigenous people, climate litigation, and all the topics that we cover in our first program together with Oxford University. So this is the kind of actions that we are leading together with the Global Youth Coalition, and we are embarking in this journey to create lasting impacts in diverse communities and spaces. Our shared vision is to craft a greener present and lay the foundation for a sustainable future, not just for ourselves, but for the generations yet to come. We acknowledge the potential within us to do better, and we recognize that this is achievable only as a united intergenerational force. Together, let's not just make noise, but ways of change. Join the global youth because we are one planet, and that's a fact. Even though where are you from, which language are you speaking, we all share the same planet. And it's what motivates us to unite and try to push towards having a committed, united youth. And I also forward the message that Iman was sharing before. Join the activities and the programs that the youth in Azerbaijan is creating for us, because it's always important to recognize others people's job. And so we empower and we don't create double or triple streams of the same opportunities or different messages that are actually trying to deliver the same goal. And yeah, I don't know if you guys have any question or any specifically, Shalom, that you want for me to share.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me read in the chat box if there's something out there. I get the first is just about the document. If you could share that if that is accessible, and you've mentioned that you're going to share that. And yes, to echo what Haja said about COP. So she mentioned other than workshops that you would wish to engage in at COP itself, you should be on the lookout for opportunities that pop up for you to share information. Several panels come up last minute. Be prepared with your knowledge to be able to share it at short notice if required. And I think the Global Center for Climate Mobility applications are still open. It's closing on the 1st of September. So that's also another opportunity to access COP for those that are interested to be at COP. And I think there's a question here, how can we introduce this using stakeholders engagement strategy to introduce? Sorry, Princess, can you explain this question?
How can we introduce this using a stakeholders engagement strategy to introduce this in various communities, grassroots? Okay, what I'm trying to understand Pris's question, and is how we deliver what we learn on these spaces into the communities and grassroots. Basically what Shalom is doing right now, right? She connect a group of youngsters that are already prepared. She also brought here a global leader, and kudos for this, Shalom. And then we get to understand what's going on. If you want to do it with grassroots communities, try to deliver this kind of workshops, or also in person, and just share knowledge. And most important, do questions. Sometimes we are afraid of asking, and that's the most powerful thing that we have as humans. How? Why? What? All these questions must be delivered. So lose the fear and start asking, not just to the grassroots communities and stakeholders, but also to the leaders in your communities. Ask the proper questions, but not in the sense of blaming and shaming, but in a way of sharing a possible solution for a problem that you recognize. So ask if they try this, or if they want, or they have interest of doing this. And that's also something important that I would like to share here. How you can get involved on this, and why is all this important? There's a lot of green jobs opportunities right now that are growing with all the policy making decisions that are being done. So when you involve yourself on these scenarios, on these spaces, and you start understanding more, you, from your career or your perspective, can start having access on green technologies or green jobs, or a more greener way of doing what you guys were already doing. By doing so, you can become yourself an entrepreneurship, a pioneer, a youth leader, because you are being the light for people that might be in the dark side right now. They have seen, and they see through you, that there's a possible way to solve these problems.
That's very powerful. And just to echo what Augustina said, including what Iman had said earlier about you playing a key role in everything that has to do both the energy transition and grassroots advocacy. Everything starts with asking questions. Just echoing again what Augustina said, it begins with asking questions, the boldness to put yourself out there. And Haja also mentioned something important, being prepared. So there are several ways where youths can share their voices. I know that Student Energy requested some panelists that would be at the New York Climate Week, for example, and they are willing to give such kind of platforms and opportunities to youth. It's just the ability of youth to be able to be present in those conferences, and you will see opportunities come up. And in terms of job, Arena has a forecast of 40 million jobs projected in 2050. 40 million jobs, that means that they will be needing more than 40 million people to fill up those roles in different organizations. So that gives us a huge space of opportunities that we can leverage as climate advocates and energy engineers, or whatever sector that you would find yourself in the future. I see Victory's hand raised. We'll take one more question after Victory, and we will introduce our third speaker. So Victory,
Great.
please go ahead. Victory.
We have some suspense.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Shalom. Thank you, Augustine, for this insightful presentation. Okay, I'd like to ask concerning sustainability. If you want to begin a career in the sustainability sector, how do you begin? I would like to have like an overview about that. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Victory, for this question. Of course, the first thing here is that we need to answer ourselves if we understand what sustainability means. That's the most important part. Of course, you can take different programs, different opportunities online, or watch available resources on YouTube. And then rather than starting just a new career on sustainability, my suggestion on this behalf is empowering what you are doing with one of the SDGs that aligns with the career that you are already pursuing. So you became, as I said earlier before, a pioneer on the career that you're already pushing, but in a sustainable manner. Something really powerful that is the easiest way for me to understand sustainability is that, let's say we are building a house and we are randomly creating a room, and then someone comes and asks you, what is this room for, Agustin? And if I don't manage to reply this question of what is this room for, like I don't really have a feeling of purpose for this room, this means that this room should not be here. And that should be taken off because it's not sustainable. Sustainability means that we use and we have what we really need to succeed on the goal that we are pursuing in our activity, like using less water or using a proper quantity of different materials, or just being respectful with your community, including people with disabilities. All the SDGs, the 17 SDGs should be your initial compass to guide yourself through this journey. Then, of course, you also need to live through sustainability. Sometimes we felt into greenwashing without knowing it. So it's important that we embrace what we are speaking, what we are doing, and how we can do. I see the next questions. For these green space opportunities, how youth can be galvanized to head on to be on the move? Is there any kind of a sponsorship to it? Yeah, okay. So one of the most biggest problems that we have as youngsters is funding, right? Access to resources, access to funding. My message for you guys out there is, and is actually something that someone that is working for the World Bank was telling me, never stop pitching. Never stop pitching, but don't pitch, hi, I want to attend COP28, 29, because no one wants to fund someone to have holidays for free, right? So rather than doing that, create a program, create a project, or push your ongoing project and find a way to connect with one of these spaces. You need to showcase this to the planet and share, but how your founder is going to be, because it has to be a relationship in both sides, no? What are the people that is funding you getting from this? But again, without falling into greenwashing.
That's really important.
Can I say something?
Yes, I was about to call you already.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hagar. I was with Shalom in a Wiser Pioneers program. I wanted as well just to address on this, like how to get to COP question. There are two issues to this getting at COP. Number one is getting a badge, which is one mountain to climb, and the other one is funding. Don't wait until, I mean, try to tackle one at least before the other. You can't wait until you get both. So at least try to get a badge. I don't know if you can contact your ministries, contact NGOs, IGOs, you know. If you secure a badge, then try to ask out for funding or vice versa. Because at the end, you know, a couple of weeks before COP, you'll find a lot of people don't look, hi, I have a badge, but I don't have funding. Yeah, I have funding, but I don't have a badge. And sometimes it's very rare, especially that I know that COP29, that all delegations have reduced quota. But I mean, at least try to start working on your badges. Start knocking on doors, and be annoying. I promise you, it works. Not it works at it. You'll guarantee a badge in finance, but seriously, for both COP27 and COP28, I got my badges like a week before the event itself. COP28, I was able to go just because I live in the UAE, so I just needed the badge, and I had assumed that getting the badge would be a piece of cake. It took me 2 months of emailing different organizations to be able to get the badge. So start knocking on doors right now, at least for your badge, while you work out the funding. Sorry, it's kind of, I'm not organized in what I'm saying, just like a burst of advice that I wanted to give.
No, really, really important information that you are sharing, Hagar. Yes, be annoying, but be respectful, because
Yes, of
people,
course. Yes.
when we receive the emails from some youngsters out there, sometimes they are like, "Hey, I need this," and I'm like, "Okay,
No, yeah,
introduce yourself."
definitely. You have to build your case and be 1, 2, 3. This is why you want to go. This is what you can add. This is what you can help them with. But just going with,
Exactly.
hey, I want to be there. No, I mean, everyone wants to be there.
Go with a proper storytelling. Sell
Exactly.
yourself, pitch yourself of why is important for your community that you are going to these spaces. Okay,
Exactly.
so I guess we have the next speaker. Thank you so much, Shalom, for this. I do have another meeting. I would love to stay here
Okay.
longer. If you guys want to connect, I shared earlier the Instagram of GYC. Please follow us, and you can reach me out through that space. Really, really happy for this space, and thank you so much, Shalom. Congratulations for this event.
Thank you so much. Please permit to adjust the picture. I know
Sure.
yeah, everyone has a very tight schedule. I'm so grateful that you all found a time to still be with us. Thank you so much. So please turn on your cameras, everyone. Another quick photo before our speaker goes on to other schedules. Thank you so much for joining. I see a lot of people joining.
Thank you,
you.
guys. Wow, amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. At least I'm putting some faces to the names I've been saying. All right, I'm going to take on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you so
Amazing.
much, Augustine. You shared very critical points and very important message to us youth. I'm already boosted to keep doing what I'm doing and also to see how much we can raise our voices out there, both at COPs and beyond. I mean, just like you said, it's important to do something, to have something already that you want to present to every organization. So everyone that is doing something, both at the grassroots level, at the local, national, keep doing what you're doing. Your opportunity will surely come. So thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. See you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Yeah, I hope to meet you soon too. And we'll be hearing from another distinguished speaker. I'm so glad that he also had the time to join us. Please permit me to welcome Axel Sultan. This is brief because we cannot embody all of his profile in such a small bio. So I'm just going to give you a brief about him, and he's going to go on to introduce himself and share the message that he has for us. Axel grew up in an oil city, home to one of the largest and most polluting refineries in Latin America. He is currently an energy engineer who offers solutions by consultations to promote sustainable energy action. He's the associate founder of multiple initiatives for the training and dissemination of sustainable energy youth projects. When he says multiple, they are actually multiple. He's the author of A Guide for Young Persons to Sustainable Energy, an educational tool to act against climate change created with the support of UNICEF, IRENA, and SDG 7 Youth Constituency. He is also the representative, the Latin America representative of the SDG 7 Youth Constituency. And you can see it's not even here. So there are a lot of profile within that he would also share with us. He's also the promoter of sustainable energy transition for more than 10 years, impacting during his career more than 20,000 young energy leaders from Latin America. It's a great honor to have you, Axel, and I'm so glad that you made our time to be with us today. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Salam. And it's an honor to be here and talk with you and everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. And of course, we're ready to talk and listen more about energy.
Thank you so much.
So, as Shalom said, I'm working on the energy agenda. I grew up in Veracruz, in the southeast of Mexico, in a family deeply involved in the oil business. From a young age, I aspired to follow in the footsteps of my father and my grandfather both engineers at the National Petroleum Company here. So, however, living in a city with one of the largest refineries in Latin America profoundly influenced my perspective. I witnessed firsthand the environmental degradation in my city, where the natural ecosystem suffer immensely. And this was one of the most important like issues that give me like the opportunity to move from my town to one of the biggest cities in Mexico, that is Guadalajara. Is one of the biggest metropolis here. So I remember vividly how the sky changed color from blue to gray, for example. Just imagine open your window and just see like 35 biggest flames in the air, burning gas all the time from the last 75 years. Is something that only people that is living in front of refineries can see and experiment. And the sight of a flame that has been burning methane for over all these years, this experience ignited me to passion to make a difference. So at 17 years, I took my first steps as an activist, leading young teams to clean up some of the dirtiest places in the city, for example. And this initiative made me realize the importance of my role in society and the power of leadership that we can implement in our community. So when I started my university career in 2013, I chose to study energy engineering at the Benemérita University of Guadalajara. Of course, focusing my expertise on clean energy. At the beginning of this experience at universities, I've started my first project that is Eco Warriors, Eco Guerreros in Spanish. So where for a year I dedicate myself to building organic gardens at the university and promote sustainable practices within the academic community. This project gave me significant attention, and in 2016, I was invited to participate in a scientific summer program. It was during this time that I met Alejandro Navarro, a fellow student who introduced me to something larger than I had ever imagined, organizing the International Student Energy Summit in 2017. When I start with Student Energy, that is one of the biggest NGOs working with energy around the world. So I accept this challenge in that moment with pride and dedication. So I start to organize this summit as a transformative experience for me. I developed the skills that change not only my life, but also positively impact those around me. As a result, I have the honor of becoming the president of the engineering division in my university. So I secure a sponsorship and create more opportunities for students to engage at international level. And so a lot of people in my classroom and in my campus start to collaborate with people from 18 or 70 different countries talking about energy, talking about innovation around and all the important issues around this sector. So this even became a platform for my friends and my peers to be informed, inspired, and united to pursuit of a sustainable energy future. And later, I found a chapter in my university. This chapter, a student chapter that received several local and national awards for implementing best practices in sustainable development across Mexico. Through this initiative, I was able to impact more than 20,000 people with over 15 workshops focused on energy transition, of course, and the role of youth in addressing this critical challenge. My journey took me to international stages where I represented Mexico at the Seafloor Forum, for example, in Portugal, Lisbon, like 6 or 7 years ago. The International Summit on Energy Economics in Buenos Aires, for example, or the United Nations Climate Action Summit on September, like 5 years ago, too, where I had the privilege to speak and represent Latin America and start on everything of these connections and these opportunities to to create collective decisions and collective education opportunities. So in addition to my international work, I have served as public servant, advising local governments, for example, as consultant on youth and sustainable development issues. My commitment to climate action has opened doors to various companies and ventures within the energy sector. Currently, I'm dedicated to managing and collaborative citizen science projects at different organizations here in my city. So I'm focused on achieving clear goals in the articulation of health, climate, and energy. So these decisions take me to different stage and different scenarios in which I'm applying all my knowledge. So do my leadership and dedication, I'm currently organizing inclusive Latin American Energy Summit. Last years I developed this type of activities, and actually I just left my position as Global Youth Energy Ambassador at the C4 Forum. I will share my screen right now. Um, in this cohort, I had the privilege to participate with different people from the regions, of course, from the Global South regions as Asian youth or Caribbean youth, for example, in which I share in Vienna, in Austria, and with different organizations as Death Countdown, how to develop a sustainable development on energy, create like this youth engagement with a specialist on energy. So during this program, Sustainable Energy for All, that is one of the biggest authorities on energy in the world, um, train me to collaborate and create like relationships with different high level people to introduce this type of opportunities in a region. For example, Latin America, we had 21 countries. So in these 21 countries, we're working with each country to generate people working on people, young people starting their own communities there to try to talk around sustainable energy. And we're working too with the one of the biggest authorities in Latin America, that is OLADE. It's the Latin American Energy Organization here. So, of course, this program gives me like the opportunity and the scope to be at the level to connect with this type of opportunities and organizations. So, and that I know is Sustainable Energy for All will launch the next year another program like this. So, of course, you have to be penient to participate because for example, this type of opportunities, of course, I have a background and I have like my expertise on energy, but to participate on this open my opportunities more and give me like the next step of my professional career that I really need to, like collaborate or generate more um, uh, like clear steps on your professional career. So, for example, during this training, I decided to convert me in a independent consultant. So, in a way, give me like the confidence to do it. And for example, these years I won like 5 different consultations with enterprises and governments here. So in a way, pushed me to do that, and I think it's a really good um, opportunity for people to implement this training in their life. It will change your life too. So for example, I work with Mustafa Hashem, that is from the Middle East and North Africa ambassador. I work with Cherab from Africa. She's doing really amazing stuff in Kenya. I work with Juan, for example, that is from the representative from the small island developing states. Of course, me from Latin America, and Jitsai, she is from Southeast Asia. She's working too with people in Asia and developing like she's the co-founder of Youth for Energy Southeast Asia. So it's really good to, well, for us if you have like the names of these people because they are implementing different agendas and creating opportunities around energy. So if you're interested, you can get in touch with them. And of course, during this program, I had the opportunity to nominate myself as right now as one of the regional focal points for the SDG7 Youth Constituency. I don't know if you can see right now in my screen the SDG7 Youth Constituency webpage.
Yes.
Yes, oh, perfect. So, well, in this constituency, I'm learning a lot to establish like different agendas too. The constituency open and accelerate like the youth action in the sustainable energy decisions and opportunities. For example, right now, as my paper as the regional focal point for Latin America, we are launching and we're connecting to create the first regional academy. This regional academy is open worldwide, but has a focus on energy in Latin America. But if you want to jump and receive the opportunity to participate on this academy, we will have the academy in 3 different languages: English, Portuguese, and Spanish. So if you are in another part of the world and you want to know more about these topics, you can register and have the opportunity to participate. I will put the yes, I will put the link in the chat for your shared access. Okay, I think it's long, but I will share with you later. Okay, so in this academy, we will start to talk about the alphabetization of energy, the principal steps to understand everything about energy and electric energy. And we will talk about energy and climate, the emissions, about how much emissions are energy launching through the sky, for example. And we will talk about energy transition and the just transition, and talking about, for example, gender issues or community issues with indigenous communities in Latin America too is something really important to try to work with justice. We will talk around lectures about production and transmission of energy. That is one of the biggest points here, to talk, because transmission will give us like this independence of energy in all the region. Of course, we're talking about electric transport, energy efficiency, critical minerals, hydrogen, green hydrogen industry, energy and investments, for example, access to energy, energy poverty, energy transition policy. And we will have like connections with different ministers. This is like our part. As the constituency, we're connecting with the different ministers of the different countries that we will let young people to participate inside the governments and decisions. So I think this is the first time that this type of authorities take in account young people and take in account Latin American energy leaders to promote a vision from our perspectives from the youth vision and implement this type of opportunities. I think this is the first time in all the history that, because I have like 12 years working and trying to like achieve this type of goals, and finally we did it. And in a way, I grew up dreaming with this, but right now it's like a successful story because you can try to register and of course participate with us. Well, in my professional career, I love to generate like educational tools. So I create like consultations with UNICEF. And I think like 3 years ago, we launched this first young person's guide to sustainable energy, in which you will find the key concepts to understand the sustainable energy and relationships with climate change and the role of young people to achieve this just energy transition that we really need. As you can see, we develop everything really good with details and the most impressive like graphics to be like attractive for young people. This booklet, you can find it in English and in Spanish, and everything inside gives you like the essence that you really need to like jump into the energy agenda and start to do something around. Of course, it's focused on action. So you will find inside like different histories about young people in different parts of the world working on projects, on local projects to transition energy in there. You can find like histories like Joyce Mendez, then right that she's right now one of the biggest leaders on energy in Latin America. And inside you can find like her history and what she's doing. For example, you can find information about people working in indigenous communities and fighting with biggest enterprises that they want to take them out from their territories, and they still fighting to promote energy and just energy, because energy justice here in Mexico is really important. Sometimes, and in Latin America, of course, too, because sometimes doesn't means that a renewable energy can generate like justice inside the communities. Sometimes you have to be pending about if you want to implement, for example, an aeolic park, you can't like take them the people out from their territory. So, and this is the type of information that you will find inside. Of course, you can find, of course, information about policy, for example, innovation, technology, um, and everything about biodiversity too, because one of the biggest like issues that to promote fossil fuels is that affects all the biodiversity in the world, and it's something that is worrying me about a lot. And that's the reason that I start to my last project, and my final project, I think, is the creation of my own organization. So last year, like in October, during the Vienna Energy Forum, I launched this first organization that I developed. Is Youth for Energy. That is right now is an initiative in which we are trying to push energy transition all over the world. In my organization, and we're creating consultations. Sorry, because it's in Spanish, but we're working to translate later. Mm, But I can translate you right now. And right now we develop regional consultations. The last consultation talks about energy justice and gender. So we develop conceptual notes around how we can engage about this. We implement a regional committee with young people around all the different countries from Latin America. So we have like representative youth-led organizations that help us to achieve these consultations. Um, Together, we have like an structure in which we work as a global and regional level, but we try to implement projects and discourses in the national level or subnational level to create and design to implement like local projects. So we work, like this type of and going to global and going to local. So this is one of the visions that we have in the organization right now. And we work with three pillars. For example, we work with energy, education, and communication as one of the first pillars of our work. We generate like intersectorial cooperation through between governments, enterprises, philanthropist groups, policymakers, etc. And the last part of our pillars is the local projects impact, because if we can do it on local, we're not generating real action, I think. So work really local is important right now, because it's not only talking the global events, it's generate actions in the local level to, like mobilize more people and mobilize the intention of what we are doing in our international work. So that's the thing right now. And in the part of education, we are working with more sustainable energy booklets. So as I show you, you was seeing the work that we developed with UNICEF, but it in a way is very general, and is in that in this booklet I talk about general issues, and like, but the idea right now is to go deeply and try to talk about more deeper problems. For example, one of the biggest problems that we are working on in my organization is the carbonization of port cities. Um, Here in Mexico, we have port cities, and one of the biggest port cities in Latin America. We have a lot of port development. So imports people is suffering a lot, because imagine all the logistics and the products from different countries arrive in a just in that point, and all the pollution that is around create like a different injustice, like social issues. So in the booklets that we want to develop right now, we want to implement like this type of problems, no? Like a booklet only talk about how we can decarbonize sports through sustainable energy, for example, or how we can create energy justice perspective, or environments in indigenous communities, for example, no? We're preparing through a booklet that we will uh, talk about human rights, for example. So, like going deeply or deeper in this type of issues is one of our principal objectives right now, to disseminate more all the energy topics on the energy like subjects, because normally it's very difficult, because energy is like so technical, and it's like more about science. But I think right now we can change it and create like, why not a tale or a poem or a guidebook or a comic about it. So that's like the vision that we have right now. And we are collaborating with different people to do this. For example, one of the biggest collaborators right now is UNICEF. Um, for example, I mean, some universities in Latin America, C4All, of course, is working with us, and the SDG7 Youth Constituency. The idea is to generate like more activities like this. And during our consultation, of course, we have like the presence of 300 people or 400 people that is already focused all their attention in energy. So we are trying to build an audience, a youth audience that are really interesting or interested to learn more about energy and create a professional career on this. And so, well, with the help of Agustin from the Global Youth Coalition, we're working the third key of our the communication, that is the content creation group. Content creation is really important right now. Me, for example, I'm trying to create videos and trying to promote more on Instagram or TikTok. Is something that I'm not really, um, like I'm not really good at, but I'm trying to create these skills for me, because I think that is important right now to go out and communicate everything on social media. Of course, it's the way that we can like take more action right now. And in the second, for example, part of organization, we're working to create like capacity building programs. So we're working this with universities, and we sell. And we have like our non-profit part, but of course we have like a part in which we can like create like economic results, because of course we have to pay, and we have to generate like better conditions for the people is working in organizations. So we try to connect with, for example, governments. So the government contract us as consultants, so we can implement ideas or implement solutions or implement policy or implement consultations with them. So it's the way we are creating like business right now, because well, this is new for me because I start to promote like why youth can be involved and why youth can be experts and can be paid as experts right now.
Yeah.
So I am demonstrating right now that people, as a young people, we can organize and create like our own agency and or consultation like services. So in a way, it's something that is we're like starting right now, but it's working very well. I will talk more about this in a moment, but we create like being alliance with universities to create sponsor programs or scholarship programs, and we're impacting in different universities in Latin America too. And in the local project part, we manage three different solutions. The first one is a pavilion. It's like a cultural pavilion in which we develop artistic skills as writing, as painting, as musical creation. For example, rap or hip hop is one of the biggest ways for us to communicate and to create like conditions to educate on energy. Uh, for example, in a month we will have like theater art scenic participation, because I will be in a way. I don't know if you know Rudolf Diesel is one of the biggest inventors in the history. Rudolf Diesel invented the motor, the combustion motor. So the cars works because of him. So I will dress as this scientific and communicate to kids and young people with art and scenics, because in a way I think it will be more fun to educate us this way, as only like put in and talk about science and everything in a boring way. So in this pavilion of culture, we want to do that, we want to change the way we are educating and be more attractive for the people. We are working too with reinventing cities. We have this methodology that we call neighborhoods. And in neighborhoods, we create like um, we create like the environment, the perfect environment for people that is living in a hood to participate on the energy transition in different ways, not only education. We promote here the participation of governments and enterprises to electrify with solar energy, for example, the municipal markets, or to ask for more um, sustainable mobility, for example, electric mobility in the city, or more bicycles, for example, too. And the hoods we want to implement have like 10 principles around how we can generate sustainable hood. So we implement this and we create like sessions with people in the hoods to work with them and create like a way in which they can perceive very close how they can be create benefits from sustainable energy, or how they can create money, for example. No, in one of our workshops with them is we can generate like activities of how they can learn to build solar dryers, for example. So a lot of different grandmothers and chief of the family, woman, almost woman, that everything, they generate like a group in which they're learning to develop these solar dryers and start to sell like dried fruit. So in a way, they are starting to create economy from sustainable energy solutions in a way. So we implement, for example, to a solar cooking, a solar hall, in which the different people that doesn't have like money to eat or doesn't have like opportunities to generate like food in the day. We are like implementing this and we are like sharing or it's like a public kitchen because all the people came here and use the power of the sun to cook. So it's for free in a way, but we are learning and we are teaching this how to show to the normal people or the local people to use the benefits of the solar energy, for example, no? Because sometimes we live like in a bubble and we are talking always with people that love solar energy or know a lot so about sustainable energy. But what about the people that doesn't know anything? The people that doesn't know how they can be benefit from this. So this is the way we want to implement the agenda inside in the roots of the countries, in the roots of the hoods, you know? So yeah. And the other way is to create like parks because we take in account, for example, here in Guadalajara, we have connections with the government, the local government. So the local government give us a big park. So in this park, we have the skateboarding, we have activities as BMX, activities as yoga, or just play soccer, for example. And we create like tournaments and everything. But all the activities we create as a sport or as a open activity, we create like this connection with sustainable energy. So if we want to, I don't know, create a skate tournament, we will skate for solar energy. No, that's the name of the tournament, and all the people is subscribe to the tournament and start to skate, but they are not using solar skateboards, no, but they are skating for this type of this type of agenda, for example, to create my conscious people, because people is asking why are skating for renewable energy, we don't understand the connection, but it's not the way that you can connect on a technical way or in a scientific way, it's more about the intention to talk about something. So that's the reason that we create like this type of activities. No, why not combine sports with renewable energy? Why not combine rap sessions with sustainable energy? So we bring all together in the park all the rappers from the hood, and we talk with them and we teach them about sustainable energy. So then we create a tournament about freestyling or just like a rap fight and everything. And they start to talk about, for example, fossil fuels versus renewable energy. So in a way, it's fun, and the people like are more interested in the subjects and they learning in different ways, and it's not like a boring situation that they are using like the diapositives or reading books and everything, because that's right now it's not the way to educate. Right now we need like take action and like connect with more people and implement your abilities and touch, for example, something that we're really doing. Sorry for expand more on this, but I think it's really important to talk about this. Is that we are creating like painting, like we go to we creating murals to leaving messages about sustainable energy. So this is part of our work, and of course, you can work with us. We are open the volunteers team. We receive funds from different donors, and we work with support all technical support, and this is our part of Alliance. As you can see, we're working with different organizations all over Latin America, big organizations and local organizations, but we are working. They are important in the same way. And of course, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
This is
Thank
part of our
you so
work.
much. Wow.
Yeah.
This is really amazing. I'm so glad that you got to share this amazing things with us. And even here at Renew What, we're trying to adopt some of the things that you've already got working for you, like the activity booklet, educational tools that can really promote engineering and leave it out of being technical and making it more playful and much more interactive. So this is really amazing. So for engineers, the program, I think that's the one for the Latin America. I think there's a certificate for it as well. So in
Yeah.
case if you're interested in enrolling in that course, please, we would share the link with you, and I'll try to have all of that ready with everyone. Okay, so the final question, because I also have like a meeting to run to right away. But the accent is the academia like a self-paced course, and then would there be assignments and all of that during the course?
Yeah, it's for free. You can access for free. You only have to register. If you have problems with the language, because I think it's Spanish right now, you can translate with Google Chrome, of
Google.
course, and you
Yeah.
will can read it and everything. And the academy will give you a certification from the University of Chile, so you can come with that and have the certification of Olare, that is like the biggest authority of energy here in Latin America.
Yeah.
So it will be amazing. People from the International Energy Agency, it will promote electors, for example. People from Sustainable Energy for All, it will be there too.
Okay.
Yumi Fund, for example, too, it will be there. NDC Partnership is part of our of group of lecturers, and my organization will be there too. So it's amazing to have you on board, and please, yeah.
Thank you so much. Please can everybody turn on their camera? Let's just take a quick photo. I really want to maintain our time today. So if you're in a place that is comfortable, you can just turn on your camera. So take a quick photo for today. And thank you so much for staying till the end. We dropped a survey in the chat box. Please take out a little bit of time. It doesn't take too much time. I think 2 minutes to complete the survey. Thank you so much. Oh my God, I see people joining from work. So I'll take a picture at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much, Mr. Axel. I'm so honored to hear from
Excellent.
you. And for everyone, we'll send the details and everything to you via email. Thank you once again for joining Renew Education. The next edition will be on clean cooking and agri-food industry. So make it a date with us. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye. Thank you so much, and bye.